3, 2, 1.
Hi. Okay, this is day 4 of Making DNR's documentary. We have lots of guitar stuff to do today, and then we might be able to get to vocals.
Maybe.
Joey's not going to be in this one today because he's got work.
Sam is going to be here though.
Yes, Sam's coming. Our parents, well, my dad will be here later on, and yeah. The writing process for DNR as a concept album was definitely different from Station 42 just because with Station 42 it wasn't a concept album, so every song could be about whatever we felt like in the moment. And DNR sort of was like that too, but it kind of forced us, because it is a concept album about life and the stages of life, it definitely forced us to think about the bigger picture always, and think about how everything kind of fits together and trying to make everything cohesive. Because with this album, obviously with any album we'd like to tell a story, but with this one it was specifically, a storyline that we wanted to tell. And so with each song being a different stage of life, it gave me the chance to throw myself into this, into a sort of space where I was like, okay, for North Star I gotta think about what would it feel like to bring life into the world? What would it feel like to just be welcomed in? What is that kind of experience like? And then the same thing for, Think Again, Like Finding Mine, Everything. So it was definitely a different kind of headspace that I had to get into, but overall it still felt like I wasn't being cornered or stuck in any kind of situation. It was more of like, now I have the same, the final goal is the same, I still want to tell a story, but now I have a different, way of doing so.
What were you most nervous about before we started?
I was most worried about how long it would take, just because obviously it's just costing us per hour. So, the more times we mess up, the more times we have to pay for it. But I think there comes a point where you have to sort of let that go. Otherwise, then you're focusing just on time and not the actual songs. But I think that's the most important thing to get out of your head, or else it's not going to work out well.
What song do you think is sounding the best just as is right now?
Questions is really cool. The effects on that, especially on Alex's guitar when he's that's really cool. But North Star I think is going to really be insanely cool too. Those two are my top right now. My favorite song on the album is, I think I might really Think Again, because I think that was the first song we ever wrote for this album. And it also, when I hear it, I kind of just think about having it play and it making us and also all of our friends dance. So that image in my mind definitely kind of forces the song to be at the forefront of my favorites.
What do you see for a future project?
I think future projects is just I think I'm less thinking about the quantity, more of the quality, now that we've had this kind of stuff, a producer session where we can see our songs are good, but we can also still make them so much better. So I think it's more of writing something that we feel passionate about from the beginning, and then just diving all the way into it and making it really good. That's how you know DNR is going to be good. That's what we did with this one. Finished recording my guitar, and now it's Alex's turn. Almost finished. but now it's Alex's turn to record his parts. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Are you worried about anything?
No.
Should
You
you be?
No.
Are you excited for
He
anything?
doesn't worry about anything, this guy. He has no cares in the world.
Are you excited for anything?
What, me?
Yes.
Pickles?
I mean, about recording.
Yeah, I'm excited. I said I was excited.
All right. Well, wish him luck. He needs it.
Oh, thanks.
Recording the guitar process was a lot of fun. Seeing all the different pedals and all that was really, cool. Seeing just how, all the equipment, amps, everything like that, really cool. And, hearing all those effects and everything really add to a lot of the music was, I hate saying really cool, but it was awesome to really see how much it could really add, going from what we would do in rehearsal with the pedals that I have, and actually knowing how to use the pedals and use them effectively really helped a lot in making the entire process really good.
For this album, we wrote it all ourselves, but with Steven, it was kind of like someone's there to play devil's advocate, but in a way where it's like, this sounds great, but could it sound better? And forcing us to really think deeper and be like, okay, it works, but could it, work better than what we have written down already? And, we had these songs for a long time, but, that made us get used to them and kind of get adjusted to the demo versions and kind of, stuck on those. But with having a new set of ears like Stevie, both listen to them and then talk to us about it on a level that's more than just it sounds cool. It kind of, it definitely pushed us to change, the preconceived notions that we had about what we should write and how we should write it, which led to the songs being a lot better than they started out as.
And there weren't that many times where CVD, completely, tore apart a certain part or anything and said we have to rewrite. There were maybe 2 times where he said we have to rewrite this part. But in general, he knew how to work with what we've written and how to add his own ideas to it.
I thought it was nice working with Stevie D, how me improvising through a solo. And he's I like your ideas, but let's focus them a little bit more. Because I don't know if for you guys, but doing improv sort of stuff like that, it's all over the place. But having it to kind of be able to go the one riff or one sort of idea in the solo, or to kind of go oh, I like that idea. Let's go focus on that, and then we can hone that and then make it a part of the song. That was really cool to have to do that.
So the mix is all messed up, but it's cool, right? You're done with this.
All right, Alex.
Hello.
So you finished recording all your parts. How do you
Yes,
feel?
I have. Pretty good.
Were there any songs that you were worried about in the beginning?
All of them.
All of them?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, going into it, I was pretty calm.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I feel about my guitar parts that they were very, much more focused after recording everything. A lot. They were kind of all over the place, and after recording, they're all much more, intent. They had a lot more intent behind them, and they were much bigger part, or they were a much better part of the whole song as a whole.
What song is your favorite now that you've recorded it and done that?
You don't say questions.
I was gonna say questions, but now Sam had to say that, so now I'm gonna say North Star.
Ooh, okay. Why?
Well, going from what it was to what it is now, it's a lot more different than I would have expected.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, It's really good.
I like North Star the most just because going from how it originally sounded to this very grand sort of song that we have now is really interesting, kind of seeing it evolve like that over time.
What was your favorite part in this recording process?
Just the good like vibes from everybody there, just kind of spitballing ideas and seeing what worked, and then from then we got a very good product that I think a lot of people will enjoy.
What song did I least expect to sound so good? I don't know, honestly, all of them, because going from what they were to how they are now, just how more refined, how much more focused, how much more, grand and more layers and all that. Going from the original demos to the final finished product is completely mind-blowing to me.
As a final question, what's something that you learned here? Like, what's something that you learned through this whole process, being with Steven and all that?
I feel like my knowledge of the recording and production process is much better at this point, so I feel a lot better about that. Knowing what goes well with certain parts definitely helps as well. So I feel that overall, as a result of this experience, I feel like a much better musician.
You want me to do it?
I got it. It's fine. So I think with Station 42, I basically went in once all the songs were recorded and sat down with Joe and basically just said, what's going to sound good? And we just kind of breezed through it, to get a nice underlying either pad chords or whatever we wanted. But with this, I think we took a lot more time thinking about what synth was actually going to sound good, what parts actually needed synth to begin with. And so, it was kind of a long process, going through different sounds and different parts of the songs, but, it's part of the process.
The way that we wrote them specifically, in mind with the whole idea that we should have a synth in to add something to the song, not just to fill it up, but with the purpose of like, this synth sounds really emotional, so it's added to, the end of North Star, or like, this sound is really gritty and it has like that kind of pull, so that, in the intro to Questions, you can really feel like, wow, this is really hitting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it definitely, we were a lot more, what's the word?
Careful, precise.
Careful. We had a lot more intention when it came to writing this synth. So, Sam has just recorded some keys parts, but they are also key parts. Alex finished his guitar, I finished the guitar, Sam is next up doing a few more keys, and then we might go on to vocals.
Possibly.
So, hope you've been enjoying this series so far. If you have, please like, share, comment, subscribe.
Hit the bell and join the squad.
Going into recording vocals, the thing that it was always on my mind was making sure that I could both maintain the best control, so the record obviously sounded like the best performance, but also inputting the most emotion, so that when you hear it, obviously you're impressed, but you can also hear all of the, the feelings that I was trying to convey. And so I was constantly thinking about like emulating like how Hayley Williams sings in the studio, or having the control of like, Chenoweth and Indina Menzel, which is very different as to who I am, but like the whole idea of trying to aspire to be on that level, so I could best serve the song. And then when it came to actually doing it for the first time, you can prepare all you want, but that doesn't necessarily end up happening as you plan. So when it came to actually starting to record it, it was kind of like a trial and error, where I would sing, and then as it was happening, I was definitely very in my head, as I do a lot, but I was kind of analyzing as I go and thinking, well, maybe if I sang it with this kind of vowel instead, or if I sang it in my chest or my head, or doing all of these different changes to try and see what would best fit the song and also fit the message that was trying to be conveyed. And so while we were recording, it was kind of cool to see how well, it's actually kind of cool to have like video of it, because eventually when these songs do come out, that'll be a permanent version of the vocal, and then looking back on this, being able to see the footage of what it was like recording it, it'll kind of be like two different worlds colliding, because you hear all these songs on the radio and you're like, wow, that sounds awesome, I can't believe someone's able to do this, and then seeing them actually in the process of doing it is a completely different thing. It kind of like blows your mind, and it's almost like breaking the fourth wall, but like opposite. And then also the mic process, because the mics that we used to record cost more than my car. The opportunity to use those kinds of things was definitely not anything I was used to, but I think it definitely paid off, because it sounds pretty nice. Okay.
Hello.
So day 4.
We're on the ground.
Okay, day 4 is now finished. How does everybody feel about today?
Pretty good.
I'm tired.
I like my solos.
Me too. I think today was
Productive.
productive. I think we were just missing Joey. That's what it was. We were missing that energy, that vibe.
What was it like? I wasn't there.
No, Sherlock.
Someone talk! It's not me! We each have different personalities, so when one of us is gone, it kind of means someone's is gonna like go
Come out
overflow, and then we're like, we don't have balance.
Joey is like the biggest personality too, and so
I'm sorry.
you're a Joey has, at least, the I don't know how to describe
The
it.
most present personality.
Yeah, like Joey.
He's the most bombastic.
So, it's when he's not there, it's harder to, kind of get in that, relaxed vibe, because that is essentially Joey's personality. It's this chill but also high intensity.
Get damn
So,
right.
It's
Case in point.
so like when he wasn't there to alleviate some of the stress of the recording process, it was definitely, it was just a different vibe that we had to adjust to with the day.
We have to have something to end this note on. What's a good?
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bum. I think it was good.